of the system at least for 3, 4, 5 years, and then only again devise your programs. I think I'd like to limit myself to these experiences to begin with, and maybe later on, whenever you give me opportunities, I'd like to interact. Thank you very much. It had been, I'm really thankful to the group for giving me this opportunity and sharing my experiences. And I'm sure that some of the recommendations will come out, which will be of great help to education society. Thank you very much.
And we'll be interacting also with you in future. And now let me invite two other speakers. They are not really directly from educational system, but I'm sure they have excellent experience sharing with us before we have the keynote from Professor Prembrat. I invite now Mr. P.P. Srivastava. He is a retired IAS officer. He has been nominated by the President of India as the member of North-Eastern Council in March 2005. In 2004, he chaired the high-level committee on revitalization of NEC. He is also the chairman of North-Eastern Regional Education Council. In the year 2000, he was nominated on the task force as a follow-up for the Kargil Review Committee report. In 1988-89, he served in the Ministry of Home Affairs as the chairman of Nagaland Ceasefire Monitoring Group. He has been advisors to governors in many states like Assam, Himachal Pradesh and Manipur. So during his regular service, he has also contributed to many other areas. His interest being rural and urban development. That's his interest overall, even when he had been in the service in the various sectors. Okay, he was Chief Secretary of Goa. Yeah, he was Chief Secretary of Goa during 1986-88, and just to share about his educational background, he did his master's in chemistry. Of course, he had the first position in the Rajasthan University, and he also got the first position in the IAS. First, he actually cleared IPS, and then he also cleared the IAS examination. So many credentials and the excellent experience. I'm sure he'll give us so many ideas about the educational system, in which direction should that move, and what kind of sort of employability we have to look for in the future. So I invite Mr. Srivastava for the seminar, please.
Thank you. Professor Prembrat, Dr. Best, Mr. Pradeep Jolly, and distinguished members of the audience, ladies and gentlemen. It is with a sense of here now, and in the presence of such great educationists and admirers of educational system. In fact, in his brilliant inaugural address, Professor Prembrat has given the overall direction of this objective of this seminar. And Professor Bisht has already also shown in practice what is to be done. So the task left for me is to go into the third dimension, not the, you see, there are three dimensions to the human, three facets of human personality. The physical, the intellectual and the spiritual. Physical and intellectual are the two wings with which the flight takes place. But the spiritual dimension is that rudder which gives direction to the flight. Whether it will go higher, whether it will go in the right direction or the wrong direction, or whether it will crash. So that dimension should not be missed. And in fact, every country has to develop according to its own tradition, its own inbuilt strength. Every country has got a different strength. Every people have got a different aptitudes and different strengths. And it is best if they develop in tune with that God-given ability to them, and not ape somebody else. That has been our bane of this country. We, in ancient times, as Professor Premruth has said, we had institutes of excellence in education in practically every sphere. People from abroad used to come, and today we are so much enamored of them. He invited the enemy to come here and so that he could settle his personal scope in his own country. That is what we are doing. And what harm it will do to our own educational system. Most of the people of eminence will be attracted by the high salaries, high materialistic considerations offered by those people who are coming here to open a shop again, an educational shop. And our universities, indigenous universities, will be starved of that. So again, the British came, defeated us by force of arms because of our internal divisions, education system. So education system is absolutely vital for our, not only for our development and progress, but for our sheer survival. So I must first of all compliment Dr. Naresh Gill and his team and our erudite speakers for having focused on the two crucial issues. One is holistic and the second is quality. Because unless the education is holistic, the entire human personality will not be developed in a balanced manner. It will become unbalanced as it is becoming today, as the West is going. And secondly, we are quality. The hallmark of anything is good quality, and quality is being sacrificed now for two reasons. One is a matter of genuine desire for horizontal spread. Since 1947, the horizontal spread of education has been phenomenal, no doubt about it. But in that process, we have lost the depth. The depth in education has been lost because of our very keen desire to go. And we see it more at the lower levels in the schools. And one thing we have to realize, while we are focusing on higher education, it has to be realized and appreciated that with the higher education, the student remains for 4 years, 6 years, somewhere more. But how much are you going to do if the basic material which comes to you is imperfect, is not properly rounded up? How much you can do? It's very limited. Therefore, the holism in education, the quality in education has to be built right from the foundation. Unless the foundation is weak, the fourth story or the fifth or third story of the educational edifice will crumble down one day. And that is what is happening. What Dr. Best said, that people coming and they are looking for something else, they are not even completing education. This is the reason. So now let us go into a bit of a history and a bit of the philosophy behind it. then we shall be able to appreciate what is the malady, and then we'll be able to devise the right remedy for that malady. Now let us go to the, as said, 12,000 years or 15,000 years back, what was the first? See what happened at that time. There are two basic, dimensions in the progress, human progress or human inquiry. And one was the Oriental way, the Eastern, the other was the Occidental, the Western way. They stood, to speak in a figurative manner, they stood practically back to back. One, the Oriental, the Eastern, he started looking inwards. Who am I? What are the nature of my mind? What is the nature of my intellect? What is the best thing for me? How do I understand the world outside? By understanding myself first. What is the mechanism of understanding the outside? The inner mechanism. So Vidya means the basic knowledge of one's own self, who is to understand the rest. And avidya was the superficial knowledge of outside, which you have to understand, the human being has to understand. And the Upanishad has said that one who thinks that by vidya alone, by avidya alone, knowing the outside world alone, he will become perfect, is like a blind person. But the person who thinks that by neglecting vidya and avidya, that means outside knowledge, and by only concentrating on inside knowledge, he will become perfect. He is a blind man living in a dark room. What's that? And what was the meaning behind it? It has to be balanced. You have to know the inward with the knowledge as well as the outside knowledge. What we gradually did, and in the olden days, before all these invasions started, we had perfected both the arts, that has been brought out by our eminent earlier speakers, that the knowledge as well as the skills were highly developed. What this modern science has developed today, we had developed through our inner being itself. We say radio, television, that something happening in a studio in London, you can see here. Our rishis had developed that, and how do we do that? This science has also been developed by our very mind. This has developed, it has not come from somewhere like a lightning bolt. It has been developed by us. Our rishis thought that another easier way of doing it. Not maybe easier, but the more convenient way of doing it. And that convenience was sitting here. By tuning your mind's frequency to that frequency, or any frequency anywhere, they could perceive that. So the power of perception was not limited to these eyes, physical eyes and physical ears, but by tuning the mind, they could perceive what was happening, whatever they wanted to perceive. These explosives, fire, which create, fire or explosions or ways of destruction, these have been developed by superficial knowledge through these explosives and TNT and whatnot, nuclear devices. Similar explosions they could cause by powers of the mind, by like Brahmastra or whatever. These are not mere fictions, but there is no reason to disbelieve them by saying it's a paradox. It is there. It was there. Successful to it. And where we went wrong was that we neglected the outward, the avidya part we neglected. And so, while we were fighting only with swords and spears and arrows, the other came with that fire, gunpowder and other thing, and we got defeated. The other thing which went wrong was that we did not change according to the times, and we believed in certain amount of fanaticism also came. For example, holiness of the cow. Now, wonderful thing, we all live by that and everybody understands. But when the foreign invasion took place and they found that this was a weak spot, So before attacking a Rajput kingdom, they put a herd of cows in front of their army, or tied some cows on the heads of the elephant which were going to break the. You have made, you have caused death of million cows. So it is Lord Krishna who said that the ultimate good, it should not be taken in sections, a holistic view has to be taken in any case. So that, in that background, we have to see education. We have got a knowledge stream and a skill stream. That got forgotten, and how did it get forgotten completely? When the British came, their only purpose in 1830s, they could see the rise of unrest in India, and 1857 came after that. So they brought in a very genius of a man called Lord Macaulay and asked him how the millions of Indians, by tinkering with their education system, by tinkering with their culture. And let me read out what he said. Lord T.B. Macaulay, law member of the Governor General's Education Council, was also appointed as President of the General Committee on Public Instructions. He presented his lengthy minutes, they were called minutes, in 1835, wherein he advocated education, now mark each word, education of the upper classes in India and spread of Western learning through the medium of English, through which he felt it was possible to create a class of persons, Indians in blood and color, but English in tastes, in opinions, in morals and intellect. How true he was. Now, extracts from his speech which he delivered in the Parliament, British Parliament. Let me read out. I have travelled across, I quote, I have travelled across the length and breadth of India, and I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country. And therefore, I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture, for if the Indians think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native self-culture, and they will become what we want them, a truly dominated nation. How prophetic was his reading. I admire his perception of our country. And I pity that we succumb to it. And see the effect that even today, we prefer anything imported, anything English. Even the third-rate Chinese goods we are preferring to purchase, which are poisonous, but we are giving it to our children to play with toys. Now this is all the effect of the slavery of Lord Macaulay. Churchill's slavery we could shut off in 1947, but Macaulay's slavery is still there. That our education should be aimed at eliminating this slavery, getting independence out of this mental slavery. That should be the aim of our education. I am reading this because, as Madam Professor had said, that this in Northeast, this Northeastern Council is the, as the Prime Minister had said in his first meeting of ours, it is a mini planning commission for the 8 states of the Northeastern region, which are cut off from the, cut off and isolated from the mainstream after partition because of that small corridor through the West Bengal. On one side is Bangladesh, on the other side is Nepal and Sikkim and all that, Bhutan and others, that chicken's neck as they call it. So that has got a geography and a history which is slightly different from the rest of the country, especially the plains, etc. So what Madam Indira Gandhi, when she was Prime Minister, she felt was that whatever schemes and plans of development are being formulated by the Planning Commission here or the ministries here, are not all very effective and very relevant to